Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. This platform was built by Sparkies for Sparkies. We simply exist to make business owners more profitable, or businesses more profitable and more predictable. So we want to work with people that work hard because we love working hard too, that work smart because you got to be on top of the business, people that are kind because no one likes a dickhead. Am I right? People who want results because that's what we're here for, right? And people who want to be part of a like-minded community. So if you're interested in hearing more about the platform, please reach out and enjoy the podcast.
Welcome back to the Sparky Coach podcast. Got Cam here again, rolling on with our mini series, I suppose you'd call it, maybe, but bit of a theme around the job management side of things within your business. So, what I wanted to touch on today was around the key areas of your job management software to really maximize it. So I know I touched on before around getting the basics right, and really getting that part sorted of your business. So I want to probably really strongly reiterate if it's a bit of all over the place, that you just get the basics sorted within your job management software to start with. But did also want to have a conversation around how you can maximize it. I'm going to focus on just a few key areas around the maximization of your job management software to begin with. Now, it might sound familiar. It's more of just an elaboration or an extension on the areas that I touched on in the previous podcast around getting the basics right. Probably sensing a little bit of a theme here around it, because these really are the most important things to focus on within your job management software. So if I was going to have a look at it in a sense of, hey, what are some key areas to maximize it? I'd probably start with ensuring that you can accurately and I guess in a relatively effective amount of time, so an element of speed associated with it, to your quoting. So accurate and fast quoting is probably the easiest way to describe it. So how you go about that, right? So obviously there's a core fundamental understanding that when you're quoting, you're shifting materials and labor, right? So first thing first is get your catalog up to date with your suppliers. So get your supplier integration sorted with your suppliers to feed into your job management software. Secondly, you're going to have to know your numbers, right? So you're going to have to fully understand where your costs are and where your break-even points are, what your cost of operations is, what it's going to cost you to have one of your technicians or one of your apprentices out in the field, plus the cost of operations associated with it. What's actually costing you to operate your business? So, and then in turn, have a real understanding, hey, this is what the material costs, this is what the labor costs, this is my desired margin that I'm looking for. So get accurate and fast quoting sorted. So those two elements are really, really important to begin with. Now, how do we elaborate out from there? So the next part of this, I would strongly recommend pre-builds or a price book of some sort. So what this means is it's a particular item. It's a bundle of labor and materials associated to get that out. A bundle of materials and labor associated together as a price, and then you can enter that in. So you can apply it in the project field, service and maintenance field as well. So put simply, let's just look at it in a service and maintenance sense. Hey, we're replacing a PowerPoint, we're replacing a light fitting, we're replacing a oven, or we're installing a PowerPoint on an external wall, or we're installing a downlight. Whatever it is, insert here, create the material associated with it, create the labor assigned to that particular task itself, and whammo, you've got a pre-build. In the construction space or build space, again, hey, we got PowerPoint, we've got downlights, we've got a light fitting, we've got an outdoor PowerPoint, we've got a light switch, a single, a two, a three, all those sorts of bits and pieces. Create a pre-build associated with it, which will be an amount of time an amount of material, which in turn will create your pre-build and or a price book, whichever way you want to call it. So by doing that, that will enable you to speed up your pricing. So as an inquiry comes in, hey, if you're focusing on if you're working in the new build space in residential, or hey, you could be working in commercial space. It's like, hey, you can do a count up and bang, allocate your pre-builds to it, and then there's an amount of labor and amount of material associated with it. So then you can review that. Much of a muchness, or very similar for, hey, we've got a existing client, we've got a property, sorry, it's a residential property, could be a commercial property. Hey, we need these 5 things changed over, or these 5 things installed. Bang, 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 bang. Here's the pricing associated with it. It will help you speed up your quoting by understanding where the costs associated with it. So by linking your supplier price list. And by understanding where your numbers are associated as well. For your labor side of things, it will enable you to price accurately as well. So really, really important. So if I was looking to elaborate, first thing to maximizing your job management software is, hey, how can I get accurate and fast quoting, pre-builds, and again, the supplier setup. Another thing that potentially look at would be, hey, can we set up some templates to reduce time typing out the same things or creating the same tasks all the time, or doing the same task all the time. We could have a look at it in creating these templates. So there's a bit of consistency, a little bit of professionalism associated with it. So they all look the same, they feel the same, and there's a general level of a consistency across the board with it all. So that's where I would look at first. Secondly, again, you've heard this as in a basic setup. Let's have a look at it. Nailing your schedule. So I don't know how many other ways you can describe it, but essentially making sure that the jobs are allocated to the staff members who will be performing them. You can have a look at this in a sense of allocating it out based on skill set, based on availability, however you want to do it. But ultimately what it'll ensure is when you look at that particular day of the week, you know, hey, this is what the people were allocated. This particular technician was allocated for this amount of time on this particular job. You can have a look at also too with the scheduling side of things. Is there any automation that you want to maybe build into it as well? So, hey, is there any SMS or email reminders for the client to prompt them? So, hey, when it's scheduled or time beforehand or time after, to be able to let them know, confirm, or communicate with them in any way that you may deem necessary. So that part of it. Other things that visually may aid you is any sort of tagging. Could be a status tag, could be just a general tagging of it to identify the sort of the stage that the job's at, so you can filter through potentially and have a look at how the jobs are sort of how they're performing, where they're at, so you can know where the priority needs to be replaced there. So I guess we're looking at, in a scheduling sense here, goal that we're looking for around by doing this is we're reducing the gaps in the schedule, but also by placing an emphasis on the schedule, we're also reducing missed appointments and also, I guess, creating a fail-safe method of double ups. So, hey, this is where we refer to only. We're working out of this particular platform in the scheduling sense. So, nail your schedule. If that's something, if you're looking to maximize it, the focus needs to be on the schedule. I think the goal needs to be no gaps during any day. So from when a technician starts to when they finish, needs to be no gaps. All their time needs to be accounted for. That way, then you know where the labor efficiency is heading towards. Now, a vital part of any job management software is now in the field. So we're looking at utilizing our field staff, our technicians out in the field, and generally speaking, we're going to be using some kind of the app version of it or mobile app version of the job management software. So we want to look at ways to make it easy on them in that. So first and foremost, there's the setup of the app to begin with. So you want to make sure that the setup is really in tune. So, hey, is there going to be any pre-start documents, any JSAs, any risk assessments, any swims, anything like that that needs to be set up so that they are completed prior to the job commencing? And is there any closeout documentation that can be associated with the job? So when the job's completed, it's closed out correctly, right? So are there any add-on parts to it all that will help? So safety documentation or forms that will assist. Obviously, navigation and access around the app is obviously important. Now, probably the key focus here is the communication with your staff members, some training in general, an understanding around that, but also to a workflow as such of, hey, this is what's important, this is what isn't important associated with doing the job. So obviously highlighting and understanding the various areas in there. So if we're to just do a general overview of the technician requirements in the field, is obviously there's going to have to be some kind of sign on, sign off part. So what I mean by that, there's a start work or finish work. So whether you start the clock, finish the clock, however you want to describe it. So there's that part associated with it. There's probably going to be some kind of JSA risk assessment, mandatory pre-start forms, and there's probably going to be the same at the back end of it as well. So understanding, hey, these are the things that we need to be doing and why. Then obviously where the job description is, are there any notes, how to find information that's associated with the site potentially that doesn't change, access codes, things like that, how to navigate around the app as a whole, how to allocate material if needed, if that's something what you do, how you close out the job in the sense of a job card, what are the requirements, is it done through a form, is it just done through notes, is it done through something that may link within there like a job card, so to speak, through potentially a third party app maybe. What are the requirements associated with that, and then how do you go about it? So I think the key here that we really, really want to focus on is making it easy for your team in the field, but also not making it so easy that things are missed. Making it easy in the sense, hey, these are the reasons. This is the areas that we need you to do, and these are the reasons why. So I strongly believe with the app in the field, or the job card completion or the job completion side of it in the field, you need to have a look at it in a sense of, okay, why do I need this done? Right? And explain why you need it done so that there's a clear understanding and a clear messaging associated with it of like, hey, we do this because we're not just doing it for any old reason. We do it because, and I think once there's an understanding of the reason why we're doing it, people can get on board and be a part of it, right? And they'll understand the importance associated with it. Now, obviously, with the field techs side of it, the whole goal of it is to improve the job notes, is to ensure that we have all the information. So we know what materials are used. We know what the billables are. We know how much time we spent on the job. We know exactly what was done, where it was done, why it was done. So we're able to paint a picture. So we're able to then in turn pass that information on when the job's completed in an invoicing sense. So the client has the messaging. Are there photos that needs to be taken? Is there any post-job documentation that needs to be filled out or completed? So having a look at how we do it, why we do it, but also making it easy on the text in the sense of, hey, it's streamlined, but also capturing all the information and emphasizing the importance around that. So making sure that your mobile app's set up in a way and that there's a workflow associated with it. Now, streamlining your invoices and payments. So first and foremost, like we touched on previously, super, super important that you get your accounting software synced with your job management. So whatever you use, stop if you haven't done that. It has to be synced. Look to utilize the features within your job management system around, hey, is there any deposits that can be taken? Is there any claims that can be taken along the way? Is there an invoice on completion? So COD, basically. So payment on completion for the job. So are there payment links on the invoices? So options to pay with cards, options to pay via payment portals, however you want to describe it. What is an easy way to be able to communicate for your client to have the least line of resistance to create payment? I think that's really, really important to set up and streamline your invoicing and your payments to be able to get the most out of it and get payments happening faster. which is ultimately the goal. So again, what are we looking for here in setting up our payment side of things is we want to get paid faster. It also prevents revenue being missed or delaying or slipping through the cracks, however you want to describe it. So they're probably a few little sort of key areas there. Another one I want to touch on is potentially now moving towards, hey, is there any part of the administration process that we can look to automate? So is there quote follow-ups that can be automated? Are there job reminders that can be automated? Is there any safety forms that can be automated? Is there any customer feedback requests, surveys, etc., that can be automated? Is there overdue invoices that can be automated? Is there anything in there that saves saves having to manually do something, or the importance lies on you to remember something? So it can even be just an automated reminder to action something. Hey, we need to do this at this certain time. Also, the information can be going out direct to the client. But I think definitely have a look at ways that you can automate your process around it that suits you. Now, this will work in depth for some people. Other people, it may not work as much. And what I mean by that is the direction of how it goes. So let's utilize this for example. Hey, we're working for, we're just doing some service and maintenance work. We're doing some quote follow-up setup. Hey, we'll be just setting that up and sending it to the client potentially, right? We're working for a lot of ongoing repeat clienteles in the commercial space or the, the build space. So they're, business to business style clients. You may be setting automation reminders to communicate with them yourself. So it's an internal communication reminder to be able to stay on top of it and communicate with the clients to be like, hey, what's happening here? So automation of your admin is something that can definitely be looked at within your job management software if you're looking to maximize it out. Now, probably the last thing around here that we want to be looking at before I sort of wrap it up is train your team. So have a look at getting your team involved, get them to ask questions. Now, there's going to have to be an element of play around with it. There's going to be a bit of trial and error associated with it. You can't expect them to be able to pick it up straight away as soon as you showed it with them. I think there's going to be an element of exploring and understanding around it. Obviously, if they can be buddied up with someone who does understand the job management software, it's going to be more helpful. But what we're looking here for overall, and this is, I think, the most important thing, and if I'm going to go back to it in the previous pod that we did, is we want consistent system usage. That's what we're looking for. So the consistent system usage will equal more reliable and more accurate information. So as in the job notes, the hours, the material use, so more accurate, which then in turn gives you the ability to obviously execute better, make better decisions, or move onwards to the next step in a more efficient manner. And I think that's really, really important to understand. So if we're looking to maximize the usage of our job management software, I'll recap it. We want to be setting up to be getting our goal of getting accurate and effective fast quoting turnaround times. So that should be a goal for everyone to be having a look at. What do I need to set up to ensure that happens? Want to be having a look at nailing the schedule. Really, really, really important. How can we make it easy for the field techs? Obviously, the things that we can do to make that easier for them, the easier for us. Streamlining your invoicing and payments. What can we automate within the admin side of it to make things easier? And then lastly, what can we do to have a look at to keep training the team and keeping them up to speed with it all so they know what's going on? Now, I think if you focus on just these areas to begin with, to start maximizing it out, you've created yourself enough items to do to be able to work on. Now, I want to sort of also, remind everyone on this is that this might be a bit of a slow burn. So it might be looking at doing one thing a week or working on, implementing 10 new pre-built items or price book items, however you want to describe them. So I think looking at having achievable goals and achievable parameters associated with it to be able to hit the goal that you're looking for. Now, this can't be done without getting the basics sorted. So really focus on getting the basics sorted, nailing them, and then look to maximize it out. And again, look to increase it over time with baby steps by doing a couple of things really well every week or every month to be able to maximize it out that particular way. Now, if you do this consistently over time and look to embrace your job management software, like we've spoken about previously, you will start to see the results and start to see more predictability in the outcomes, and it will become the focus point of your business. So the goal, like I said previously, is we want to be looking for the consistent usage. So embrace your job management software. Please embrace your job management software. Look to attain just some consistent system usage to then build out from there, and you can maximize the use of your job management system.
That's a wrap on another podcast. Whatever you're doing, don't be too busy to stop and check if you're making money. And above all else, you know the rules, be kind. See you soon.